Good evening. An investigation is underway at this downtown high-rise after a suspect died while trying to escape the scene of a stabbing.
It happened near Bleecker and Wellesley Street, and that's where we find CTV's Allison Hurst tonight. Allison, what's the latest on this?
Nathan, we've seen a number of officers heading in and outside of the apartment building, as a number of them are outside here as well, holding the scene. And we have just learned in the last few minutes from the Special Investigations Unit that they are also investigating this death. Next to an apartment building surrounded by police tape, a body is covered by an orange tarp on the ground.
No words. I am without words. Very sad. I know that it's very sad.
Police say they found a person with stab wounds. As they were tending to them, officers say they were notified the suspect was attempting to flee, who had an accident and was pronounced dead.
The one that is in the hospital, I know. But this brother, I just saw him since last year. I see him coming around, but not to really talk to. But the one in the hospital, I know him.
The one who was stabbed was taken to hospital in serious condition. Neighbors tell CTV News the pair are brothers and that the suspect fell from a balcony.
The brother was trying to get down to the 14th floor, and the person that lived in that unit did not let him in, and he apparently went back out to go down, and that's when he fell and died.
It happened around 11 this morning at an apartment at the corner of Bleecker Street and St. James Avenue. Neighbors say there's been a lot of violence in the area lately.
Like 2-3 weeks ago, there was another stabbing just around the corner.
I'm getting used to it now. It's happening way too often.
I'm very upset, and I'm really sorry. I'm very sorry for his family.
And as I mentioned earlier, the province's Special Investigations Unit is investigating this death. They say they're looking into the circumstances surrounding the death of a 52-year-old man from Toronto. And yes, they did also confirm that it appears that the man had fallen from a balcony to the ground below. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Allison. Hamilton police have identified the man killed in a shooting yesterday evening. Police say 19-year-old Talon Williams Parkin died in hospital from gunshot wounds. He was shot around 6:30 Thursday in an apartment on Main Street West near Caroline Street South. Investigators now believe there was an exchange of gunfire inside the building and a suspect may have been hurt. They also say there were reports of an injured person in the area, but they haven't confirmed a link to the homicide as they search for those responsible.
Police have identified 2 suspects in connection with the shooting, and those suspects are described as follows. Suspect 1 is a male, black, short, with long dreads and a fat face. The second suspect is identified as a male, black, tall, thin, with dreads and wearing a blue face mask.
Police say the victim's family is mourning their loss, and they're asking anyone with information to come forward.
We have more news in a moment, but first a look at the forecast. Here's a live shot of the city, cloudy skies, a cool start to the month. We did have a little bit of sunshine earlier today, but there was also a frost advisory. Lindsay Morrison has a look at the current conditions. Hey, Lindsay.
Hey, Nathan. Welcome to May. Welcome to the weekend. And yes, we are warning of the risk of frost again tonight. We're also tracking a few showers, mainly from Scarborough over towards Stouffville and then toward Uxbridge and Port Perry. Chance of showers for the city of Toronto through the early part of this evening before we dry out. Winds are pretty light. The current temperature at Pearson Airport is 8 degrees. Big night for Raptors fans. Anybody heading to Jurassic Park will likely encounter drier weather as the night goes on. But yes, it is going to be chilly tonight. There's the frost advisory in place once again. Our temperature dips below freezing overnight. So yes, it is a chilly start to the new month. We'll take you through the weekend forecast coming up. But for now, Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. At City Hall, the race is officially on. Torontonians will go to the polls in October.
But as of today, candidates can officially start their campaigns. CTV's Mike Walker has been at City Hall all day talking to eager candidates as they filed their nomination papers on day one, Mike.
Well, Michelle, a total of 8 candidates filed their nomination papers to run for mayor, including Beaches East York City Councillor Brad Bradford, who announced his intentions months ago. And within minutes of doing so, he became the subject of a complaint filed with the Integrity Commissioner. Months after announcing his intentions to run for mayor, Brad Bradford is officially in the race after filing his nomination papers with his family by his side.
My priorities for this campaign are very clear. We'll be focused on the 3 C's: crime, congestion, and cost of living.
The Beach's East York City Councillor, who is a staunch critic of Mayor Olivia Chow, finished 8th in the 2023 mayoral by-election to replace John Tory.
Mayor Chow has managed people's expectations down. She has told Torontonians that they have to accept less, and I reject that. I think it's time to demand more.
The race already heating up on day one. Advocacy group Progress Toronto, which has previously supported Chow, filing a complaint with the city's integrity commissioner, alleging Bradford violated council's code of conduct over a fundraising gathering last month in Vaughan.
Well, we just don't know where that money went. It was not clear on any of the materials that were distributed.
Candidates are prohibited to campaign fundraise until they register. Bradford denies the allegations.
There has been no fundraising prior to this campaign. This is a smear from Progress Toronto.
Chow is expected to seek re-election but hasn't officially declared. The mayor was asked about her intentions today.
We can talk about the election later, but at this point I am very focused in doing my job.
Throughout the day, a steady flow of people registering to run for council and school trustee. Some have run before and were among the first in line.
I'm running again because I had almost 3,000 votes and 100+ people came out to me and said, you know what, you got to run again.
While for others, it's their first time.
We're going to start canvassing right away.
Community and crisis worker Diana Chan McNally is seeking to replace Councillor Gord Perks in Parkdale High Park. Perks has announced he will not be seeking re-election.
My track record speaks for itself. This isn't just about having progressive talk, it's about action.
Engineer and business leader Vanessa Raponi is also running in the ward.
My 3 pillars are about affordability, community, and safety. So I think that they both apply to the ward and Toronto as a whole.
With Bradford in the mayor's race, voters in Beaches East York will also elect a new councillor. The municipal election is on October 26. No other current members of City Council registered today, but this is a lengthy process. The deadline for candidates to file their nomination papers is August 21st. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. Also tonight, a 10-month training course that can change the course of someone's life. We highlight a city-run training program that provides at-risk youth valuable work experience.
This is a live shot of Jurassic Park outside Scotiabank Arena, where hopeful Raptors fans are gathering ahead of tonight's do-or-die Game 6.
The Raps need to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight, or their season is over. CTV Sean Leathong is live outside courtside tonight. And Sean, you've heard from both players and fans ahead of this critical game.
And the fans are expected to be the loudest in the NBA tonight. The doors are open. They're filing in. It's going to be loud in here. Talking to those fans, talking to those players. They say, even though this is an elimination game, they feel confident.
It's the day of Game 6, and the Raptors are facing elimination.
And how do you feel about this game?
I just hope we win.
But fans outside Scotiabank Arena are more confident than you might think.
I'm feeling great, honestly. From what I've seen from the boys the last couple of games, they really want it.
Super hyped. I think we got this in the bag.
Positive we're going to win home court. We're going to pull it off and go for Game 7.
The reason that fans give is a feeling around this team that being down is something they're built to handle.
They're on the brink of elimination, though. You're not nervous at all?
No, I think we got it at home. The fans are going to hype up everyone. I think the players know what the crowd's like, and we're going to get a win out here.
Well, I think we're just playing harder. We wanted more than these guys, and we're in Toronto. We got all the fans going. We're going to be good.
I think the boys are going to be super ready and be hungry to win tonight and keep it going.
At shoot-around this morning, RJ Barrett agreed with fans in saying an elimination game suits their style.
We've always been a team that fights and scraps. So I think an elimination game just kind of fits into, the personality of this team.
In this series, the home team has won every game. The Raptors losing Game 5 in Cleveland after having won 2 in a row at home to tie the series. Jacoby Walters says this young team was finding its footing in the first playoff games, but experience has come quickly.
Everybody can tell you about how different the playoffs are, but you kind of got to go through it yourself. So just getting that experience.
The team may have to do it without star Brendan Ingram, who's listed as doubtful with a sore right heel, but fans aren't worried.
You look at it also as an opportunity for other people to be able to step up.
Other guys will have to step up. we'll be fine.
Who's going to be the best for the Raptors tonight?
Scotty Barnes.
Are they going to do it?
Yeah.
And Barrett, who's from Mississauga, says the crowd in Toronto is always an advantage, leaving with a message for fans.
Keep doing what you're doing. We love y'all.
So you're looking at Scotty Barnes warming up right now as the Raptors have taken the court. Fans are expecting him to have a big game tonight, as the nerves are definitely here, but it is strange because you heard from fans there saying they believe in this team, and it's not because they were first in the Eastern Conference. They weren't. They finished 5th. It's because this team has a certain amount of grit. One bad bit of news is that Brendan Ingram is confirmed out, but Coach Darko Rakovic said that he expects somebody to have a big game in their place. It's somebody like Jamison Battle, who had a big game in Game 3, that they're hoping can push them forward and send this to 7. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. Nathan Michelle, send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it. Still ahead, back from injury, just in time for the World Cup on home soil. One-on-one with Team Canada defender Alistair Johnson. His passion for the game and ties to both Canadian host cities.
Well, some scary moments on the 400 this morning after a crash involving an OPP cruiser and a dump truck. The CTV News chopper was over the scene. Now, police say the crash happened around 10:45 in the northbound lanes near Line 10 in Bradford. OPP say an officer was responding to an emergency call when the truck was cut off by another vehicle and collided with the cruiser, pushing it into the wall. Nobody was hurt, and the lanes have since reopened. Meanwhile, the Ontario Provincial Police Association is sharing funeral plans for Sergeant Brandon Malcolm. He was killed Monday in an on-duty motorcycle crash in Cobourg. His body was transported from Toronto to Oshawa yesterday. A service is now scheduled for next Wednesday, May 6th at 10:30 in the morning. It will take place at the Cobourg Community Centre at 750 Darcy Street.
The Royal Conservatory of Music says it will launch an independent investigation into allegations one of its most prominent teachers sexually abused students in the 1970s and 80s. This decision comes months after a former student published an essay accusing instructor and celebrated pianist Boris Berlin of abusing her as a teenager. Music teacher Luciana Luckman shared her story in the Toronto Star. The Conservatory says it's carried out an internal review and it's examining more historical records, and it will then bring in a third party to probe these allegations. The RCMP says the RCMPM says it's focused on deciding a path to bring meaningful action and answers for any survivors of sexual abuse. Toronto's mayor is expanding youth programs for at-risk teenagers.
It's all part of an effort to create safer and stronger neighborhoods. CTV's Janice Golding has the story.
You got shot 6 months ago?
Yeah, I started working 2 days after I got the bullet removed.
Jadon is 21 years old. He's been incarcerated. He's been shot. But he says his life is changing, and he gives credit to a city program that launched last June.
It makes a huge difference to me, because now I can help people in my community start programs and start having other youth be moving in a different way that I would be moving, because I don't want to have youth be in the same situation that I would be in.
Jadon is one of 37 youths placed with the City Serve program over the last year, an employment and training program that provides youth most vulnerable to violence and crime with mentorship, job shadowing, and paid work experience with the city.
We have to show up before others show up with the wrong offer. Too many young people have been impacted by gun violence in our city.
The 10-month program was designed for youth between 16 and 24, offering them 30-hour work weeks. And today, City Serve was expanded to involve a summer program for teens between 14 and 18.
Many of these young people have never had opportunities before to be involved in those kinds of things in a positive way. They were usually the perpetrators. They were the ones leaving the garbage. They were the ones maybe doing the graffiti.
Last year, the program received $1.4 million in funding, and with the summer expansion, staff say it will receive another $500,000.
Got me out of bad situations, kept me around better people, better environments, you know. Overall, it's just been a full 360 for me.
It's all about what you surround yourself with and your environment, you know? So if you're around the wrong people and the wrong places, you're gonna get into the wrong things.
It's opened a lot of doors that I don't think I would have had the confidence, and just the knowledge to even step into.
A 10-month investment in our city's youth.
We want them to be entrepreneurs. We want them to be leaders. We want them to be productive members of our community.
In the hopes of making a lifelong difference. Janice Golding, CTV News.
As the month of May gets underway, preparations for Pride Month are kicking into high gear. Pride Toronto held a reveal event this morning. The event kicked off with a drag performance by Dahlia Doll at the CN Tower. Pride Toronto says there's lots to look forward to throughout June's festival. They're promising more than 300 acts and 600 artists hitting 8 stages. It will feature 99% Canadian talent. Over 3 million attendees are expected to take part as Toronto Pride marks its 45th edition. Organizers say the milestone is reflected in this year's theme.
The theme says, "We won't stop." And truly, we will not stop. The fight continues today as we did 50 plus years ago. But we also have a lot to celebrate. And we will do that with joy. We will do that with love. We will do that with togetherness.
Pride events are scheduled throughout June, with festival weekend taking place from the 25th to the 28th. Well, as the war in Iran enters its second month, gas prices here are only getting worse.
So cost savings will have to come from somewhere else. CTV's Adrian Gabriel reports.
With gas prices soaring, Canadians are feeling less than fulfilled at the pumps.
It's ridiculous, to be honest.
When you look at the price on the pump, what goes through your mind?
Am I going to have to put my car away for a bit?
What we're paying is a direct result as to what's going on in the Middle East.
The war in Iran and the subsequent closure of the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil normally travels through, has sent prices peaking.
I paid $170.
CTV News crunched the numbers. An average size vehicle has about a 50-liter gas tank. Most Canadians fill up once per week. The cheapest national average for gas so far this year is about $1.22 per liter. Over a 12-month period, that would run you about $3,172 in gas per year. On the high end, the national average now sits at about $1.84 per liter. If the high price sticks around, it would cost an average of about $4,784 a year at the pumps. That's a difference of $1,612.
I think it's going to get much higher. I see $2 a liter as not only a possibility, it's a probability at this stage.
The potential increase has some drivers already cutting back on other expenses. You'd have to cut back on activities with your family.
Yes, I'm going to have to, due to the fact that the gas prices are affecting us a lot.
My meat consumption has gone down significantly, and for me, there needs to be an offset.
Those watching the market say there's a belief that elevated prices could be the new normal for several more months.
I can see this going to the end of the year. Merry Christmas.
Analysts tell us that even if the Strait of Hormuz was reopened today, it would take at least 2 months before we see any meaningful decrease in the price here at the pumps. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
The federal government says it has a plan to tackle the massive backlog that is now close to 100,000 air travel complaints.
Travelers have long been calling for action to speed up the process that in some cases takes years to resolve. CTV's Abigail Beeman has the details.
Delayed till 12:45, then delayed till 1:10 a.m.
Frequent flyer Robert Walker says he's collected so many delay and cancellation messages from airlines he can write a book.
You get nowhere, it takes forever. I haven't got time to worry about it, and I just don't believe that anything will ever be done.
He's not optimistic about the federal government's commitment to better handle air travel complaints, included in the spring economic update.
We put in place a system that, in hindsight, was onerous, expensive, took too long.
The Fed's now proposing to quadruple the fines airlines could face to a maximum of $1 million, clear the complaint backlog by using a third party based on the successful model in the UK and EU, and simplify the complaint process.
The exemptions, the lack of clarity, the confusion, the loopholes.
Since January, the Canadian Transportation Agency tells CTV News it's received more than 1,000 complaints every week. That backlog now stands at 97,000, and it can take more than 2 years for your complaint to be reviewed.
This is really, I would argue, the first time that we've seen the government acknowledge that the system itself
needs to be reformed. And so we're encouraged by that.
The National Airlines Council of Canada told us that before new details about much bigger fines emerged Friday and wouldn't share updated reaction.
I don't believe the government.
While this air passenger rights advocate says Ottawa is offering smoke and mirrors.
The government is essentially trying to solve a PR problem. When they are going to privatize it, they will be able to shake their finger at whatever third party is running the adjudication process and say, you're not doing your job well.
Gabor Lukács says the reason the system works better in Europe isn't because of a third-party system, but rather easy-to-follow rules about whether compensation is owed, which he would like to see in Canada. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Donald Trump has rejected the latest Iranian proposal to resume face-to-face peace talks.
They've got to come up with the right deal. At this moment, I'm not satisfied with what they're.
Details of the proposal have not been made public, but the U.S. president insists Tehran is asking for things he can't agree to. Trump says the Iranian leadership is very disjointed and split into 2 or 3 groups. Still, he says negotiations by phone are continuing.
Nearly 170 activists, including 2 Canadians, are now in Greece after their Gaza aid boats were intercepted by Israel in international waters yesterday. The activists arrived today on the island of Crete after an Israeli warship transferred them to Greek vessels. The group was part of a global Sumud flotilla that was launched in an attempt to break Israel's blockade of Gaza by delivering humanitarian assistance. A nurse from Ontario and a student from Quebec were among those on board the 22 vessels intercepted off Greece, hundreds of kilometers from Gaza. Israel says the organizers are professional provocateurs and insists what it calls a lawful blockade will not be breached.
Back here at home, the Toronto Zoo has a brand new resident. A Bactrian camel calf was born yesterday and was on its feet within 2 hours. Toronto Zoo CEO Dolph DeYoung calls the birth an incredible addition, as Bactrian camels are listed as critically endangered. The calf brings the zoo's total to 7. There are only believed to be around 950 left in the wild.
And coming up, Toronto's infamous Capybara is free to roam once again in video game form. How the log-shaped rodents inspired an all-new adventure.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up, it's Feedback Friday. Viewers had a lot to say about our story on the cost of using the 407 toll highway. More people have to pay back CERB benefits they received during the pandemic, and more counterfeit money is showing up in the GTA. Feedback Friday is just ahead.
Well, it may not be a picture-perfect weekend forecast, but a reminder that the cherry blossoms are in peak bloom now at High Park. So get on out and enjoy them while you can. It is a short season, and a reminder that the park is now closed to vehicles. Runners forecast for Sunday morning. We've got the Toronto Marathon happening, and while there is sunshine early on, it's going to be chilly. How long is this pattern going to last into May? We'll take a look at your 7-day forecast after the break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
We had a lot of reaction to our stories on the rising cost to use the 407, counterfeit money, and reselling World Cup soccer tickets.
And others tell us they've been told they also have to repay thousands of dollars in COVID-19 benefits. Here's Pat Foran with Feedback Friday. Pat.
Michelle and Nathan, the pandemic may have ended 3 years ago, but the federal government is still trying to recover $10 billion it says Canadians received they shouldn't have. Well, some taxpayers are waiting for a refund. Others are being told to repay their CERB benefits. Charmella Redgefold owns a restaurant which was closed for 2 years during the pandemic. She applied for the Canada Emergency Response Benefit, CERB, and received $14,000. But now she's been told to pay it back.
Very, very disappointed and stressful.
Judy wrote, I was a hairstylist and unable to work during COVID. I've been told to pay back $22,000 in CERB. I'll have to sell my house.
The rates are ridiculous.
Tasha Coates uses the 407 toll highway 5 days a week to get to work. While she takes advantage of promotional offers, she still feels the cost to use the road is too expensive.
It's $50 to work and $50 home, so I'm spending $100 a day traveling on the 407.
Rick told us, I used to use the 407 Monday to Friday for $600 per month. It's now $1,000. That's absolute gouging. Vanessa Polakeni purchased 4 tickets to see a World Cup game. The tickets were in Boston, so she sold them to try and see a match in Toronto. To avoid being scammed, she used FIFA's official marketplace. The tickets sold, FIFA said to expect payment within 60 days. 3 months later, she still hadn't received her money.
I really don't know what is going on.
With CTV's help, she got her money back, but Angelo wrote, I sold my World Cup tickets for $7,000 and been waiting 3 months for a refund. FIFA is not responsive at all. Lisa Polyakova got stuck with fake hundreds and $50 bills. She was trying to sell an iPhone through Facebook Marketplace when she got scammed. A bank teller confirmed the bills were counterfeit.
Magnetic stripe is coming off. The serial numbers are a repeat.
Liz told CTV News, our store got scammed by a counterfeit $100 bill, and so did the shop beside us. We no longer accept hundreds. And Toronto police have collected more than $130,000 in fake bills so far this year. Be careful accepting large amounts of cash. Fake 50s and hundreds seem to be the most common counterfeit bills in use right now. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Friday night in the city, the first day of May, the whole weekend in front of us, and the weather isn't too bad.
It's not bad. It's a little bit chillier than I would like it for the month of May, but you say that generally speaking, things are going to get way better.
Yeah, so as May goes on, we pretty dramatically see our seasonal norm or our average temperature climb into the 20s, especially by the end of the month. But yes, we are off to a bit of a chilly start so far, and we're holding on to the chance of showers early this evening and then at times over the weekend too. In fact, it's a continued cool and unsettled forecast, but that didn't stop people from getting outside today. This is what it looked like over Deer Creek Golf Course in Ajax. Our CTV News chopper was flying there today. So many golf courses now open around the GTA, and I love seeing people get outside, maybe enjoy what's considered perhaps a slightly warmer weather activity. Looks like a few people had a good round today. Nice to see. Here's the thing though, this isn't great for the golf season or for planting season. We've got a frost advisory in effect once again tonight. You can expect that this will be in place for tomorrow night too. And here's why. Temperatures near the freezing mark, in fact, below zero, as we make our way overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning. That's quite cool for this time of year. 7 is our average overnight low. As far as daytime highs tomorrow, it will be a chilly start to the day, and then many communities are going to stay in the single digits for afternoon temperatures. About 10 degrees around most parts of the GTA. And yeah, a couple of showers, maybe even some wet snowflakes possible in a few areas. This is another look at the satellite and radar. I'm going to widen things out so you can see that the bulk of the heavy rain once again is stateside today. We are not looking at necessarily much in the way of measurable rain over the next few days, but there's just enough instability in the atmosphere for us to have the chance of showers pretty well every day. So you want to hang on to that umbrella. We do get some clearing through the night tonight. And again, that's one of the ingredients when it comes to the potential for frost. Clear skies, calm winds, cool temperatures. We've got all of that. And then sunshine to start off your Saturday. Into the afternoon, though, increase in cloud, scattered wet weather. Into Sunday, similar situation. Clear overnight, sunny to start, increase in cloud cover. By late afternoon Sunday, it looks like a little more organization, this disturbance. So more in the way of widespread showers or rainfall. It moves on out for the nighttime hours. And then Monday, we should start off with some sunshine. But once again, showers are forecast for next week, too. Most days, in fact. This is a look at roughly how much rain we can expect by Monday morning. Your weekend forecast looks like this. Again, there is some rain in the forecast, but we will also enjoy periods of sunshine, some dry weather moments, too. 10 degrees tomorrow, 13 for the high on Sunday. And then finally, we are back to seasonal for Monday and Tuesday. I wish I could tell you it was going to stay that way. In fact, the opposite. We're going to cool down by about this time next week. And yes, chance of showers most days. That's the forecast for now. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, an all-new procedure being tested in Toronto, offering groundbreaking results for patients with a disease that mimics dementia. Our health reporter Pauline Chan is next.
Normal pressure hydrocephalus is a disease that affects older adults with symptoms that mimic dementia.
The disease can be treated, and as our health reporter Pauline Chan tells us, St. Mike's is testing a groundbreaking procedure.
Normal pressure hydrocephalus, or NPH, can be difficult to diagnose because it can look like dementia.
It's usually characterized by a triad of 3 symptoms: cognitive difficulties, difficulty in ambulating, and some urinary incontinence.
Dr. Jose Danilo Diestro explains the traditional treatment has been to put a tube to drain excess fluid from the brain into the abdomen.
They go through your skull and then they go into the ventricle, and basically a tube is inserted there, and then that tube drains fluid. And the typical place where it drains fluid is into the peritoneal space.
But Dr. Vitor Pereira says there can be problems.
There's too many devices, and the risk of getting clogged, of having an issue or an infection is up to 20% in the first 2 years.
So Unity Health is testing this tiny device called an e-shunt, and Abdul Rahman was the first patient to try it. Instead of using a long tube to carry fluid away from the brain, the minimally invasive surgery places the shunt in a sinus cavity just below the brain.
And that tube is now the drainage system.
The next day he went home. He had a significant improvement on the cognition initially, and an improvement on the gait.
They hope to do 20 such cases in Toronto, and eventually Pereira believes a significant number of NPH patients can benefit from the new e-shunt.
The criteria now is very strict. I think probably 60 to 70% of the patients with NPH may qualify to this procedure.
St. Mike's is one of several international sites testing the new procedure on a total of 240 patients. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Dozens of people from across the GTA took part in Covenant House's Sleep Out event last night to bring attention to youth homelessness. The annual event was held at Toronto Metropolitan University. Participants woke up early this morning after spending the night outside to highlight the challenges facing young people experiencing homelessness. Organizers say on any given night in Toronto, more than 1,500 young people are living on the street.
I can't imagine what it's like for young people to have to do this every night. It's impossible to truly rest when you're, uncomfortable and cold and just exposed to the elements.
Covenant House provides young people experiencing homelessness with a safe place to stay, healthcare, counseling, education, and other services. When you go to the theater, belting out tunes isn't always welcome.
Unless it's a special sing-along performance. And if there's one show worth warming up those vocal cords for, it's & Juliet. CTV's Jessica Smith catches up with one of the stars ahead of tonight's interactive experience.
When you finally get to love somebody, guess what? It's gonna be May.
Toronto-based actor Matt Raffi, who plays May in & Juliet, says 6 months into the Canadian production, it's been nothing but love from the audience.
In Canada has been already so crazy in the best way possible, and the audiences have been so loving and supportive and just so celebratory of this story, but also as our full Canadian cast.
The millennial-coded melodies are ones you can't help but hum to. And tonight, you can actually sing along with the cast for the first time with the Canadian production.
I wish every show was sing-along night with this show because it's just so good. Everybody knows the songs already. Either they grew up with it or they listen to it on the radio.
A part of the sing-along shows with the cast that took the show to Broadway, Raffi says they are looking forward to feeding off the energy from the crowd in Toronto.
There's a host, and they're going to sort of explain how the evening is going to go to the audience and really encourage them to, sing along to the songs and really be engaged. And then it's party time.
Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time.
with the hopes that tonight is the first of many sing-along shows. Designed to make you sing and dance in your seat, and Juliet has been extended here at the Royal Alexander Theatre and is running until July 5th. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
Strikeout number 12. I grew up in Milton, Georgia, north of Atlanta. Definitely my parents. I mean, they're first ones to get me into it. My dad, you know, he threw me BP every day, hit me ground balls every day, caught me every day. My childhood was a lot of baseball or various baseball-like games. I remember playing cane ball with my twin brother. We'd go to my grandma's house, take one of her canes, get like Coke cans and Sprite cans and pitch them to each other and break her canes and get in trouble. I don't know, I enjoy throwing my mind into things and learning, just exploring, I guess.
The big pine leg height left. We're going to want to play for a 4 here.
Dylan Cease Buzz here. A yogi Sadhguru who I follow was talking about the benefits of honey. So I started researching it, and then I started researching beekeeping and all the different aspects of honey. I just went down a rabbit hole, and then somehow I talked my dad into beekeeping. He sends, I don't know how many pounds and gallons of honey. I've always enjoyed giving it away to my teammates. I can't draw. I'm just doing abstract and just throwing the color on there. I'm very limited with my drawing ability, so I really have to put a lot of effort into it. But I'm new. I mean, I'm already meeting people, connecting. I feel like connecting with the community in a certain sense. I'm going to Rodney's Oyster House a lot lately, hanging out with Kelly and the guys over there, and they're teaching me about Canadian music and some history and some culture. I learned about Tragically Hip. You are ahead by a century. Is this true? Is Tragically Hip your guys' like Beatles?
Yeah.
Really? So that's true. Okay. So yeah, I gotta research more of that.
On the Friday markets, the Canadian dollar is down to 73.58 cents U.S. West Texas Intermediate oil also down to 101.94 cents a barrel. And the TSX lost 73 points today. Waterfront Toronto is sharing updated designs for new communities set to be built on the new island where the Don River meets Lake Ontario. Flood protection efforts in the Portlands led to the creation of Ukwe Min Minising. The island's name means place of the black cherry tree, and it features both parkland and future housing areas. Back in 2024, City Council directed Waterfront Toronto to increase the amount of units planned. The teams behind the effort released updated designs, boosting density by 27%, making room for about 12,000 homes across the island. The plan goes before Council later this month.
The Toronto Blue Jays will try to bounce back tonight after a tough series opener in Minnesota.
1-1. And Varsho pulls this one in the air to right field. That ball is back, and that ball is gone.
The Twins won 7-1 in the first of a 4-game set. The Jays will look to pull even tonight when they send Patrick Corbin to the mound. First pitch is set for 8:10.
Held coming through. Pioners puts it up, knocks it down.
The Toronto Temple will attempt to win their first game in franchise history tonight. The expansion team lost 83-78 to Connecticut in preseason action Wednesday. Tonight they visit Minnesota for their second and final exhibition game.
Soccer Canada is getting $9.8 million from the federal government. The money will go toward the planning, design, and pre-construction of a national training center. It will include facilities for high-performance training, as well as accessible, community-focused sport and recreation.
With just 6 weeks to go until the World Cup, we want to introduce you to a key part of Team Canada. Defender Alistair Johnston has played more than 50 times for his country and has become a star in Scotland.
CTV's chief anchor and senior editor Omar Sachedina sat down with him and talked about inspiration, overcoming injury, and his special talent off the pitch.
A passionate defender and key starter for Team Canada, Soccer is in Alistair Johnston's DNA.
You know, the Premier League games that would come on at 7 a.m. or rushing home from school on a Tuesday and Wednesday to catch the Champions League games, that's kind of like some of my fondest memories growing up.
A love of the game passed on by his father, Bill.
What sort of influence did he have on your upbringing?
It was just something that was instilled in us from such a young age, going out in the backyard, playing all together as a family. It's something that, you know, some of the moments that I cherish most of my childhood.
That passion has propelled him into pro leagues. Johnston's breakout year with CF Montreal in 2022 got him noticed by Scottish soccer giant Celtic, his current club, where he says he had to grow quickly.
You get dropped into a fishbowl like Glasgow and you're playing for one of the two biggest teams there. Yeah, it gets loud and you realize, okay, that is what my life is going to be like playing for a club like Celtic. It forces you to mature at a very young age.
And staying level-headed during setbacks. This hamstring injury with Celtic eventually led to surgery, sidelining Johnston for much of this season. But he credits his wife Peyton, whom he married last year, for keeping his eye on the ball.
This season has not been the one that I was expecting, but at the same time, you just kind of got to roll with the punches, and that's something that I've learned to do over these past 8 months.
We are live here on SportsCenter. There he
Hello.
is.
While recovering, Johnston took the opportunity to try something new for a day.
It's time now for one of the most iconic segments on TSN, the SportsCenter Top 10.
Now focused on the World Cup on home soil. As a player born in Vancouver but raised just outside Toronto, he has roots in both Canadian host cities.
Do you have a favorite? Do you feel an affinity towards one or the other?
It's really a tough one. I've got a real kind of tight, close connection to both, I'd say. And ideally, in my opinion, I like to try and represent both as best as I can. So I'm always proud whenever someone asks me, are you from Vancouver or Toronto? I say, yeah, both.
About to represent both and Canada on the biggest stage in the world, unyielding in a quest to keep pushing this country to the next level.
We might say that this was a golden generation, but then there's going to be an even more golden generation, an even brighter generation that comes after it, and that we continue to just chip away at becoming a true footballing nation.
Omar Sachedina, CTV News, Toronto.
A couple of capybaras created a buzz throughout the city a decade ago now when they escaped from the Toronto Zoo.
They were eventually found and returned, but their legacy lives on in a new video game. CTV's multimedia journalist Corey Baird shows us how it all plays out.
The search is on. 10 years ago, the unlikeliest of jailbreaks catapulted the capybara from obscure South American rodent to Toronto's top news.
Live over High Park, where those two young capybaras are still missing.
In the 30 days it took to capture the cappies, social media exploded with sightings and speculation citywide.
It popped out onto the street here.
It swam directly from the tree right up to where I'm standing now.
We heard that they escaped.
The bears, it's all gone.
A decade later, they've escaped again. In video game form, that is. You can call off the search parties. Cappy Castaway is the brainchild of indie developer Saffron Aurora. You play as a lost capybara trying to find your way off of a replica of Toronto Island.
I love Toronto, so any way that I can sort of represent where I'm from, I like doing that.
The Queen Street Viaduct, the DVP Rainbow Tunnel, even TTC streetcars among the game's many Toronto Easter eggs.
You can see one of our references over here. This is Nest Fred's. I'm actually going to do this one over here, which is Franz Diner, if you're familiar with Franz. We've got a little Timmy's cup, our coffee cup. It's a winning cup! Would you look at that? We do have a few, I would say, Toronto animals celebrity references. Conrad the raccoon makes an appearance. Something I would like to add is the IKEA monkey.
The video game industry is volatile, so success is hardly guaranteed. But there could be gold in these hills. Capybara cafes do big business in Japan, so maybe the world's just been waiting for our own ode to the rodent.
I think the capybara is a friend to all animals. It's very like loaf-shaped and it's very approachable.
Cappy Castaway will be available for download later this year. Corey Baird, CTV News, Toronto.
Bonnie and Clyde, you said it was like 3 weeks to a month that they were missing?
It was a multiple week saga. We were on Capybara watch. Yeah, that was a fun time. It'll go down in Toronto history just like that IKEA monkey.
Absolutely. We've had a couple of animal stories here in the city. Let's talk one more time about weather. Hopefully we're cheering on another animal tonight, the Raptors. Let's go Raptors. Here's a look at your forecast, whether you're just heading down to Scotiabank Arena right now or cheering on the team at Jurassic Park. It's a little cool out there. We've got a frost advisory in effect for overnight tonight, and then tomorrow's high about 10 degrees, mix of sun and cloud in the morning, chance of showers in the afternoon, and we remain unsettled and cooler than normal through the weekend. Temperature improvements early next week. Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but be sure to join Heather Butts tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching. Have a great night and a fabulous weekend.